Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei. I'm so excited to paint with you today. So today we're going to be doing another page in our watercolor journals. We're actually going to be doing the second half of a page. If you were here for the last episode, you were with us for this lovely night wintry sky with a little snowfall and a cute little cozy home up in the hills. And now we're going to do another landscape, and we separated our journal into these longer strips, a little less traditional, where it's more of a panoramic scene. So lots of fun. If you're new here, we'll go over supplies and materials super quick, but you can find links to all of the things I'm going to talk about in the description of this video if you want to learn more about them and find the spelling and all of that of the names of things. Okay, so I'm using a ball hung watercolor journal. This is 140-pound cold pressed paper in here, so that's weight and texture, and it's 100% cotton. I am also using my Core QOR by Golden watercolor paints. These were originally tube paints that I put into this palette, so the palette itself and the paints came separately and I put them together, and this was a 24 set of tube paints. I'm also using, I have a series of brushes here. I use primarily round brushes as well as script liners, but this is a size 10, a 6, and a 4. These all happen to be Princeton Velvet Touch for right now, but I have several other Princeton line brushes as well as silver black velvet brushes are my primary go-tos. All right, and I have water, paper towel, and that's pretty much all we need today. So oh, I am going to use a pencil just to draw in a horizon line. But we are going to be painting a lovely winter sunrise or sunset. It could be either. I'm going to keep my horizon line, again, really low. So we're going to put a nice low horizon line down here so that the majority of the painting is the sky. That is going to be the main focal point here. And then I am going to be adding just basically some bare trees. So nothing is going to have leaves on it. It's winter time. But in the front, I am going to add kind of some bare trees that are going to go in here. You don't have to draw these in. I'm just kind of giving myself a few guidelines here. I want them to come out from the edges. Do one here, and then as we get further back, they're going to be smaller and lighter, and we're going to have a central focal point in the middle. So the trees are going to be mostly on the sides, and probably maybe some thing on the horizon line here. We'll just give it a kind of a mountainy in the distance, a mountain range of some kind, or maybe it'll be bushes or a tree line. I'm not sure. All right, so let's focus on the sky. So we're going to do a nice dramatic winter skies. I feel like, at least where I live, can be like super dramatic. We're going to use lots of different colors, but primarily it's going to have reds and purples. I'm going to add some blue here at the top. So I'm using Ultramarine. I'm going to use that at the very top. You could use a Cobalt, something a little less of a red tone. Okay. And we're also definitely going to be using yellows. I'm using a Diarylide yellow here. And I'm going to use some magenta. Oh, my magenta definitely had a little Payne's gray or something on the top. I'm going to use magenta. So we have our primaries here. And I'm going to use some purple, some Diarylide. I'm sorry, Dioxazine purple. Diarylide yellow, Dioxazine purple. All right, so this is kind of the color palette I'm going to be working with, and I'm just going to start building these colors in. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down some yellow. I'm going to go right down to the horizon line. With this yellow. Then I'm going to add some magenta. And I'm swooping kind of down from the corner here, giving it a little drama. We'll mix in some more yellow, giving us an orangey flare. And then I'm going to pull this blue up here in the corner. Don't really want my blue and my yellow to mix. Don't worry, we'll get to the purples. Kind of creating a little bit of purples right now by the magenta and the blue mixing, but the purples are going to primarily going to be our clouds. Now everything is wet, so this we're transitioning into wet on wet from wet on dry. Put a little more drama here. Make this a little orangier. So you can kind of play, just knowing the most important part, I think, with a sky like this is knowing your color mixing, because I'm doing my best to keep my yellows and blues away from each other because I don't want to make green in the sky, but it's okay to have my magentas and blues to make some purples. And I'm also going to be doing my best later. We'll talk about purple and yellow, not mixing too much. They're going to have to mix a little bit, but purple and yellow are going to make brown. And generally you don't have a lot of brown in your skies, or gray. We are going to push things to a little bit of a gray at the bottom of our clouds. But otherwise, as long as you're following or keeping those rules in mind, you can just kind of play and keep adding color to different areas. You can pull out color to make things a little lighter or wispier in some spaces. Yeah. All right, so that is our kind of base for our dramatic sky. And we're going to let that dry. The ground is going to be snow. So we're going to keep things pretty light. I'm going to take some of this Dioxazine purple and maybe a little Phthalo blue and make a really light shadowy color, like super light, lots of water. And I'm going to put in just a few bits of shadow, but keeping the majority of it just white, I guess, or at least some significant parts of it white. All right, so we have to let this all dry, and then we'll come back and start to add some clouds on top of it. I don't want to do that wet on wet. You can start the process, but I'm not going to. And then we're going to put in our trees and our horizon line, tree line, or mountains, or whatever they are back there. All right, we're back and we're going to start building in some cloud structures. So I'm going to first start with a little magenta, kind of an orangey magenta. I'm going to water it down a little bit, but I'm going to kind of build the bottoms. So just kind of a nice crumply rumply bottom. I'm going to blend it out with just a damp brush at the top. And yes, I'm putting like basically one big cloud like right in the middle right now. I'll build in some smaller ones in a minute. Now I'm going to take my purple, and this is still wet, so now it's wet on wet, at least on the cloud part. So it's going to blend into the top, and we're going to get a nice soft blend on the bottom. Take some more of my purple And I'm going to water it down. I want it to be light, and I'm going to go out here kind of in the distance, create some lighter, longer clouds. And then with this purple, I'm actually going to add a little yellow. We're going to create a darker brown. I'll go right along the bottom to really give that some weight. And I'm just going to soften the edge just a little bit with a damp brush. And in the background, we'll put some let's make this one a little heavier here. Compositionally, just giving it a little mid-ground. So these are really far in the background. I'm pulling this one up by giving it a little more detail, a little more color. Put a little pink in there. But it's not as big, it's not as kind of heavy as this one right up front here. Actually going to see if I can pull out some color in the top. All right, we're going to let that dry, and then we are going to continue on with our trees, our bare trees that are going to frame this whole piece. So let that dry, and then we'll come back. All right, we're back and everything is dry, and now we're going to start to put in our trees. So for the trees, the ones closer up are going to be darker, and as they get further away, they will be lighter. I am going to put in our kind of horizon line background. I'm going to use this brown here. This was made just with, I think it was sap green and magenta. Or actually, no, this was yellow and Dioxazine purple made this lovely brown. But whatever brown you have. And the reason I picked brown, this lighter brown color, and not black or gray, could certainly do a lighter gray, is that it's going to give off the impression that this is further away, that it's lighter, it's reflecting some of the light from the sky. I'm just going to go straight across here. Add a little blue over top of it, just to take a little bit of the yellow out. There we go. All right, so while that's drying, it shouldn't take very long for that to dry. It was a nice thin layer. I'm going to start to put together some colors for the trees up here. We're going to use this brown, but I am going to add it's a little too yellow. I'm going to add some more purple to it. There we go. So we have a purpley brown. And then in the front, so closest up, I'm going to do some larger. Trees. And then you're only going to see one or two of like the larger branches coming off, like so. And the closer to the front, I'm going to pick up some Payne's gray and add it to here. Purple. The closer to the front that you are, the darker, the more detailed these are going to be. Can even put a little shadow on them. And then as we get further away from the viewer, trees will get smaller. We'll see a little bit more of them, and they'll be a little bit lighter. So if you're doing like really far background ones, use your smaller brush, make them nice and thin. And you're going to see, like I said, you're going to see more of the tree. And we can add in even some more details, like things kind of poking up through the snow, little bushes along the tree line. I'm going to add some more stuff back here. There we go. So we have a nice little tree line along this side that's kind of receding into the background. Some of these have to go a little bit darker, I think. So for this one up front and for all of these, I'm actually going to put, like as I'm working here, I'm going to put a shadow along the one side. Of the tree, kind of showing that light is coming from this way. You don't have to get too detailed on every little branch or anything like that, but it's really mostly the main trunk and the main branches. There we go. I kind of like this, how we created this receding line here, like a tree line. I wanted to put some over here too, but you know what? I might put, let's put some evergreens over here. So some pine trees. I'm going to take some sap green and mix it into this color. So now I have a very dark, kind of olivey green. So let's see. Again, these aren't going to be perfectly straight, and there's going to be some overlap. So I'm using this as my center, and I'm painting like these large boughs that are kind of coming off the tree. There's gaps in between. The closer to the center you get, the more dense it is. And then so I'm just going to leave one there, and then I'm going to do like one a little bit further away, but more of like, I think a spruce. I don't know if it's, but it has these kind of up boughs. It's more of a rounded tree. They're a little smaller. So just kind of creating a little variety. We'll do two. Kind of clustered together. Boop, boop, boop. And I'm also going to give these a little shadow. Take some of this blue. Because obviously the sun is coming from behind them. So we'll put a little shadow, and we can see the bottom of these. So we'll put a little shadow on there. Put a little shadow here. Coming this way on the bottom of this tree. The others, they're all, you can't really see the bottoms. Can even put a little shadow along the base of these mountains there. There we go. So a nice little wintry dramatic sunrise or sunset with some trees in there. We have our barren trees here. We've lost all of the leaves. And again, you can keep playing with putting in, I like that these are like, these shadows provide contrast over here. I think that makes it look really dramatic and fun. I'm just doing another layer like right on the edge of a couple of these. So our barren trees over here, and then our evergreen trees on the other side with a couple of varieties. It's fun to play. So this is a great place to kind of plan out different versions of all these different elements, and you can combine them in all kinds of different ways for different landscapes. But this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's take off our tape to get the real effect here. Don't forget to check out the description for links to supplies and materials. Go ahead and like the video, leave a comment, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, if you want to keep up on our watercolor journey in our journals. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, it always looks so nice, fresh and clean when we take the tape off. So yeah, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and share with a friend who you might also think would like to join us on this watercolor journey. All right, y'all, take care. Happy painting, and I'll see you for another page very soon.